What's up, guys? mcstu here, and today we're going to talk about ISOMags and some updates that have happened in-game. This is going to be an update to the farming video that I put out a few months back on how to farm them. That video is still correct, but with some changes that have happened in-game, it has gotten a lot easier to get the pieces and craft these items. And we'll talk about the market as well on them if you're somebody that has some EC and wants to go ahead and just buy them. So let's just quickly recap what it took before to make an ISOMag. So ISOMags are basically a console you can use in the engineering slots that essentially would replace your tactical consoles. You cannot use fleet consoles at the same time as ISOMags. If you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with what they are. If you're brand spanking new and you're not sure, just throw it into the search on my channel, and there's a breakdown video on what our ISOMags are. But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know what they are. So we're going to talk about real quick how you had to go about making them before and how that has gotten much, much easier. There is one misclick for the misclick counter for this video. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it here. So to make an ISOMag, what you have to start with is creating the components for it. So we're going to start at the base level of that. So to start with, what you have to make are these manifolds. And it's really kind of weird because the description here and the icon is different from the description of what you make and the icon of what you actually make. So it really doesn't... Yeah, it's got to be just a mistake, but it's been that way for a while. That's kind of standard. We see that a lot, unfortunately, in this game. But I did test this just to make 100% sure. I've made them quite a few times, but this is the first time I really kind of noticed it and wanted to make sure. So I went ahead and crafted one and confirmed it. So what you needed to do, or I guess let's just finish that part of the conversation. So when you craft this item here with this description, the plasma distribution manifold, you're actually making one of these, and this is the coil. And so the description that we're looking at right now on the tooltip should be what is listed here. So if you're unsure, if you craft this one, the fourth one down, you are going to get a coil, which is the main special component you need to make a ISOMag. In order to make this coil, you need 5 of these pieces, okay? So these are the advanced engineering fragments, isomagnetic plasma pieces. You need 5 of those in order to make it. Once you have made one of these, you can come over to the engineering tab. You can go down to the advanced consoles, use the drop down for the ISOMags, hit confirm, and here is a coil that we need. And then these other 2 parts are super easy to make. You can just find them in the list here under the engineering tab and make them. You don't need anything special for that. It's super easy. So we're not going to get into that. So in order to get the pieces that you needed, these here, you would have to run particular elite TFOs. And I think there was 4 of them in particular that would give you a box that would have a chance of this being in it, okay? And that box looked like this right here. I would normally farm out 10 before I open them. If I opened them one at a time, it seemed like I just didn't have the same kind of drop rate. But if I opened 10 at a time, I normally would at least get 10 of them. But that means that I had to queue up and wait for other players to queue up for one of those elite runs in order to get one of these boxes. And I would have to do I'd have to do about 10 of them in order to get at least 5 pieces out of these boxes, because it's about a 50% drop rate in order to make one coil and then craft my one ISOMag. So on average, you are running 10 elite TFOs in order to make one of these items. That was very difficult. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of, harder content in the game. And you also, in some cases, would have to wait 20 plus minutes. Other times it would be okay. It would pop a little bit quicker because people were farming them. But since ISOMags came out, a year or so ago, we saw some of that, up front, but it's gotten longer and longer for that stuff to pop. So this was a crazy grind. I ended up just finally getting some of my first sets just a couple weeks ago, complete sets for some of my builds, because it was so much work, and you're only talking for one energy type, and you can't transfer them to other characters once you slot them. So it's a lot of work in order to craft just one ISOMag. So, to have a really good build, you want to have, at least 5 of these on your ship, if not more. And so, do the math. That's a lot of TFOs that you have to run on Elite and having to wait for those to pop. Ton of time. So that's the way that it was. And it still is like that. So you can still use that method, but there is a much, much easier method to do it now. And what that is the introduction of the Elite TFO random queue system. Okay. And I know that you can just get anything on here, right? And Elite can be difficult. The nice thing is, and let's start with the reward, and then we'll talk about some of the past fails on these as well, just to give a little more context. So if I click this button and I go ahead and run an Elite TFO, and I'll be kind of popping some stuff up on the screen showing, clicking the button and getting the reward and claiming the rewards and stuff. So if I click this button, I get an Elite TFO and it pops. And for instance, let's say it was, I don't know, what was one of the ground ones that I got? I think it was Bug Hunt. I got a couple different ones. I'll pop it up on the screen so we can see. I can't remember off the top of my head, but went ahead and ran that, completed it. Wasn't too bad, and so we finished it. So at the end of that run, we got the normal box that you would normally get, which was this one or one like this. The Elite that I ran was not one of the 4s you would normally get a box that would have the piece I need. And I guess just to clarify, there's 4 different TFOs that give you this particular box, and there's one other that would have a chance of getting this particular piece. Other TFOs will have a different box that has a chance of doing one of the other pieces you would need for one of the other advanced consoles, which we're not interested in. So on the Elites, it doesn't matter what you end up getting. You do not have to get one of those 4. Now, you still are going to get this box, and the box might be, you might have ran an Elite that wasn't one of the 4 that drop a box that have the piece in it. But what you do get for running an Elite, just like when you run a advanced random and you go on that random system, you get your mark box and you also get your random TFO box with that. And so with the Elites randoms that they've put in, there's now an Elite random box that you get. Now, what's really nice about getting this Elite random box is that when you open it, and we'll go ahead and do that, I'm going to get 3 things out of this. I'm going to get marks, I'm going to get the advanced console components box, and I'm going to get extra dilithium. So kind of similar to what you would get out of doing your advanced randoms. You get that extra box, and it's going to be they drop different tiers of them or qualities where you can get more stuff out of it. And I believe that also exists with this. So you can get better ones where you might get 2 of these boxes. So once this box comes out of it from opening that Elite random reward box, and you open this is going to give you a choice of any of the coils that you need. What that means is that instead of running 10 Elite TFOs in order to get these boxes that have a 50% drop rate with the hopes of getting 5 pieces in order to craft the coil, by doing a random Elite, you're going to be rewarded with choosing any of these special components. So basically, running one random Elite is going to give you that one complete component. You don't have to craft it anymore. It's going to allow you to make an ISOMag. So basically, every time you run one of the Elites through the random queue, you would have the special part that you need to make an ISOMag. It's awesome. So instead of running 10, you can now just run 1. We've also found that a lot of these TFOs on Elite have a fail. Mandatory things that if you don't pass it, you can fail it, and that's it. For instance, in ISE, if you don't destroy that starting group in a certain amount of time, you fail it and it's over. What we found is that even if you fail the random Elite, you still get that reward box, and you get your ISOMag component that you can choose out of this. Now, if you're wanting to put together, hanger consoles, that would be one of these other ones here that you would normally have to craft. You can just pick it out of here instead. So if you're wanting to make, an advanced console for the hanger pets, you can grab that piece that you need. So for what I want to craft, which is an ISOMag, I'm just going to pick this. Now what that means is I can just skip this whole page, this special projects page. I don't even need that anymore. I run one random Elite. I can then come over to my engineering tab. I can go to my advanced consoles. I can select my ISO mag, and as long as I have these other 2 parts, and again, if you don't, you can craft those in a second with basically, garbage resources. It's super easy to get. These are next to free. You can make them really, really easy. They're a non-issue. But by running just that one and selecting that item, I can now craft an ISO mag. And in 5 minutes, we'll have that. We'll go ahead and skip it. And there we go. That's an ISO mag. So you still have to re-roll it if you don't get what you want. So like this particular one is garbage because it's drain X. So you're still going to have to go and have the tedious task of re-engineering the item. And this can be a nightmare because there is a crap load of different modifiers here. So if you're looking for phaser, for instance, you unlock it and you do a random. I got plasma resistance. That's not what I want. Keep going. I got trans, whatever it is. Nope. You can spend a ton of resources on this. What I would recommend, if you have a ton of resources, and go for it. It takes dilithium and it takes salvage. But generally what I'll do is I'll keep re-rolling it until it gets to some kind of an energy type. I'm going to stop for now until it gets to some kind of actual energy type boost. Preferably one that is, somewhat sought after, which is most of them. Phaser is going to be the highest. But then I'll take that and I'll sell it on the exchange, and then I'll take that EC and put it towards getting the type that I want. I think that's the easiest way if you don't have tons of dilithium. Otherwise, take your daily dilithium, make sure you're, turning in your garbage you pick up, turning it into salvage, and keep re-rolling it. There's no way around doing that regardless of how you farm out these parts. The main point is that instead of running 10 elite queues, you now only have to run 1, and that's through the random, and you will have what you need. So the other option is to buy it on the exchange, and that has gotten quite a bit cheaper. And for this very reason, there was, I think, one of the R&D boxes were on sale, and you could get these same kind of things, so people bought them. Market got flooded, but now that you can get one of these coils and craft it so easy, people are making them, selling them. The market's a lot more saturated, and the prices are crashing. So if you're somebody that's sitting on a little bit of EC, and let's just take a look at the exchange here, you can buy these for a fraction of the price. I think the first couple I bought a while back, I paid like 40-50 million for them. And now you can pick up phaser ones, and let's just look at those specifically. So you can pick up phasers now for under 30 million. That's still a lot. I was looking earlier today, and I was seeing these in the very low 20s. So they're at almost half the price. But if you're putting together, a disruptor build, I was finding them at 10 million. My free-to-play, I do disruptor as my main energy type on my build that I have. So if I was going to buy them on my free-to-play, I could buy 6 of them for 60 million. They're much, much cheaper. 60 million is still a lot. And there's some people that haven't perfected being able to generate a lot of EC, and that's where doing the random TFOs on the elite setting is going to work. And because of the fail, catch on that, if you do fail it, you still get it. So even if you're someone where you're like, well, my ground build sucks, what if I get dropped into one of those? Try your hardest, talk to your team, look for advice on making it more survivable. But even if you just jump into one and you fail it, you're still going to get the part. And so you're only going to have to suffer through that, 5 or 6 times, 7 times if you want a ton of them, and you'll have all of them, and you can just keep re-rolling them until you have the different modifiers that you want. It's much better than, if you were going to get 6 of them, you'd have to run 60 of them. And, if you're one of those people that are concerned about that, you're just not going to be doing that, right? I mean, I wouldn't. It would be a nightmare. So they've made this much, much easier to get these components by 10 times. And that's huge. This makes it really nice. Now, this means that you may need to go back and start looking at some ground builds, or looking at, some of your space builds. Elites can be challenging for a lot of people. This is a perfect opportunity to give it a try. Even if it's a nightmare and you fail it, you're still going to get your reward. You only have to do it 5 or 6 times and you're done, and you don't ever have to do it again. So if you're someone that just hates elites and you don't want to do that, you're not, a DPS chaser, which you don't have to be, but if you're someone that's just, here because you like building the ships and all of that, and you're going to probably have a bad time in some of the elites. But again, you only need to do 5 or 6 of them depending on how many ISO mags you want, and then you don't ever have to do them again. You just work on re-rolling your ISO mags to whatever you want for your particular builds, and you're off to the races having a good time. So that pretty much covers it, guys. That was the main thing I wanted to really point out, because my previous guide and some of the other ones, they would have you going down a path for a lot of people. They wouldn't be willing to do it. I mean, myself included. I didn't go down that path to get a full set of ISOMags. It was just too much. And I'm more than capable of being able to do the elite queues, but 60 or 70 of them, I mean, that would take a long time. And I personally wasn't willing to do it. And so this change that they made has made it to where, for me, especially, this is great. I mean, I think I got just this afternoon, just kind of playing around, I picked up, I've crafted, I think 2 of them now so far, but so I did then 6. So I had enough just in one night to do 6 of them. They went pretty fast. I'm pretty familiar with most of the, the elite grounds and space. It's not a real big problem. But even, if I hit that failure, then it would have taken me a little bit longer, but I still would have gotten all 6 of these. So don't be afraid. Just jump into them. We know, and most people know that this is a thing now. And so, you're going to get pugs that don't know what they're doing and that kind of thing. And that's okay. I mean, nobody knows what they're doing when they do it the first time. That's the whole point, so just go in, have fun, have a good attitude about it. If you die a whole bunch and lose and, whatever, that's fine. You're still going to get the reward that you went in there for. And now you'll understand the mechanic of that particular one and can plan for it better the next time. So don't be afraid to just jump into these guys. It's pretty rare that people will get in and start being jerks. It happens, but just ignore that. We're here to have fun, and how are you going to learn some of this stuff if you don't just try? I mean, the first time I did any of these elites, especially when they had special, tasks that you had to complete and, failure points and things like that, I didn't know what I was doing. I just went in and had to try and figure it out. Some of them, it took multiple ones. So don't be afraid to just jump into these and try it. Don't be afraid of failing. We're here to have fun. And again, the nice thing is that even if you fail on it, you're still going to achieve your main objective, and that's getting these pieces that you need in order to make the ISOMags. So I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, guys. This is just, it's gotten 10 times easier than it was running 1 instead of 10 per ISOMag. And I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that, and to let you know that if you want, just pick them up off the exchange, because the prices are dropping, and I think we're going to see them continue to go down quite a bit. So, if you're someone that's just like, I don't want to do ISOMags, I'll just tour the galaxy and sell stuff and just earn EC, you're going to find these are getting cheaper. Just save up, buy one at a time, and you'll have a full set fairly quick. But again, we're going to see these crash even more on the market. Sorry, Spencer, but hey, it's just the way it goes, right? All right, guys, let me know what you think. If you're someone that doesn't have ISOMags, wanted to have ISOMags, but wasn't willing to do it before, does this change? Does that entice you to maybe give some of these a try and try out the elite randoms? I was really skeptical about them adding in the elite randoms. This just happened this week. I thought it was going to kind of be a nightmare. All the ones I jumped into, they went fine. You're going to find that, a lot of people know what they're doing. If you ask questions, hey guys, it's my first try, throw it in chat. People will tell you what to do. Even if they don't, they're not going to be as critical and stuff. And if people are being jerks, just hit this button right here. I always keep mine like that most of the time, this one, and nobody else is even able to talk to you. Okay. So just go through it, have a good time, and earn the ISOMags. But let me know, are you somebody that are willing to give this a try now? ISOMags are much more in reach for everybody with this change. And so it makes it more in reach for me. I'll tell you that right now. So let me know what you guys think. I think this is a great change. I'm glad that they added this reward box with the ability to just choose like that, because that really makes these worth running. I wasn't even going to use this system because there really wasn't a reason to, right? But now that you can do this, I'll make a couple different sets of ISOMags for my characters now over the next couple years. Because I tell you one thing, I'm definitely not going to re-roll the ones I already have, because that is where the sink is, okay? So this is great. I'm happy with this change, and I'm very happy that it's made these easier to get. All right, guys, that's it. Have a good one. Appreciate you watching. Hey guys, appreciate you watching. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, ring the bell, and sub to the channel for the latest news updates and how-to guides.